The afternoon light filtered through Dr. Hargrove's office window as Avery Walsh stood at attention. He set down the incident reports with deliberate care. "Third time in 6 weeks you've deviated from protocol. You performed an emergency thoracotomy without backup, without authorization. The patient had cardiac tamponade," Avery said quietly. "Waiting 12 minutes meant death in 3. That assessment isn't yours to make." Hargrove removed his glasses. "Hospitals operate on structure. You create liability. He's alive. That's not the point." Avery's hand moved unconsciously to her left forearm, where ink lay hidden beneath her sleeve, a caduceus wrapped around an anchor. She caught herself and stopped. "Your surgical privileges are suspended. 2 weeks pending review." She nodded once. No argument, no protest. Outside, she walked to the locker room where Lena Argy found her. The second-year resident had heard about the suspension. "It was the right call," Lena said. "Everyone knows it. Doesn't matter now." Avery closed her locker. Lena's eyes caught the edge of the tattoo. "That's military. Navy? Long time ago. Whatever you did before, whatever made you that good under pressure. Maybe Hargrove needs to know. He knows what he needs to know." Something old and tired flickered in Avery's expression. "Take care, Lena." Friday morning, Avery ran along the beach as she did every day. 5 miles through fog, the only time her mind went quiet. She'd been doing this for years, through deployments, transfers, and the quiet months after she'd resigned her commission. The memory arrived without warning, the USS Mercy, her hands inside a chest cavity, while helicopter rotors thundered overhead, a patient's heart beating against her palm like a trapped bird. She blinked. Back in her apartment, coffee growing cold. Across town, St. Catherine's Memorial was drowning. An 18-car pileup on the coastal highway had filled every trauma bay. Dr. Hargrove directed the chaos with controlled urgency. "If Walsh were here," Lena muttered to another resident, "she'd have triaged this entire scene in 2 minutes." Hargrove overheard. His jaw tightened. 40 miles north at Naval Air Station Rainier, an explosion had torn through a destroyer during training exercises. 12 sailors injured, 3 critical. The base hospital couldn't handle the volume. Chief Petty Officer Marcus Reeves grabbed his phone. He'd served on the Mercy 5 years ago and remembered a lieutenant commander who moved through operating rooms like precision itself. He'd seen that same face months ago in St. Catherine's ER. Dr. Avery Walsh. He called Lena. "Is Dr. Walsh still suspended?" "Yeah." "Why?" "Because the Navy just scrambled a helicopter for her." Lena found Walsh's military record in 30 seconds. Lieutenant Commander Avery Walsh, MD, U.S. Navy Medical Corps, 8 years active duty, 6 deployments, over 800 combat surgeries. She showed Hargrove. His face went carefully blank. "I need to make a call." When Avery's phone rang with Captain Rebecca Thorne's voice, it hit like cold water. "Explosion at Naval Air Station Rainier. 12 casualties, 3 critical. Shrapnel injuries with vascular compromise. You're the nearest qualified surgeon. I'm not active duty. I'm suspended. I'm asking before I make it an order." "You can't order me. I'm civilian now." Silence. Then Thorne's voice softened. "Avery, I know Kandahar still weighs on you. I know why you left. But these are our people, 18-year-old kids with metal in their chests. You're the only person within 200 miles who can save them. I'm not that surgeon anymore. Then those kids are going to die because you're hiding." Avery ended the call, hands shaking for the first time in months. Hargrove called next. "The Navy's requesting federal override of your suspension. She says you have specialized combat training. Is that true?" "Possibly." "Why didn't you tell me you were military?" "You didn't ask." He exhaled. "If I reinstate you, will you follow their command structure?" "I'll do what the patients need." That's not why they're calling me. They're calling because when protocols fail, I'm the one who can still save the patient." If that's not good enough, find someone else. There is no one else. She ended the call and headed for the beach. The helicopter materialized through breaking clouds. Captain Thorne stepped out as it landed. "I didn't want to do this," Thorne shouted over the rotors. "I said no." Thorne showed her a tablet video of a 19-year-old sailor, pale and bleeding. James Kellerman, subclavian artery severed, fragment lodged against the vessel wall. "Our base surgeon has attempted this twice. Both patients died. Avery's clinical mind engaged automatically. He needs vascular clamps and bypass graft, fragment extraction posterior to avoid tearing. So you know what to do." Avery looked at the screen, then at the ocean. "If I do this, it doesn't mean I'm coming back. I'm asking you to save his life, that's all." "How long?" 12 minutes. Avery walked toward the helicopter. The base hospital trauma bay showed Kellerman's vital signs declining. Blood pressure 80/50, heart rate 130. Lieutenant Davis, the base surgeon, looked exhausted and terrified. "I've never done this extraction successfully. You won't lose this one." Avery examined the wound. "Prep him for surgery immediately. Complete silence once we begin." In the operating room, she scrubbed methodically, watching through the window as they positioned Kellerman. Thorne appeared beside her, already gowned. "Like old times. We were better equipped on the Mercy. We also had rockets landing nearby. I'll take limited equipment." Avery stepped to the table. Everything else disappeared. Scalpel. She made the first incision, extended it for access. The fragment was visible on imaging, jagged metal pressed against the subclavian artery like a blade to a throat. She worked carefully, exposing the artery above and below, placing vessel loops for control, vascular clamps ready. Placing clamps now. She positioned them, occluding blood flow. Extracting fragment. The monitor alarm shrieked. "We're losing him." "Ein Familie. We're downable." "No." Her voice cut through the panic. "We're not." She continued the extraction. Steady, controlled, the fragment cleared. Blood welled. Suction. 4 ridsyroproline. Her hands moved like playing an instrument. First suture, second, third. The bleeding stopped. Releasing clamps. Blood flowed. The repair held. Check distal pulse. Strong and regular. She watched the monitor stabilize. He's going to recover fully. Davis stared. That was extraordinary. When Kellerman's eyes fluttered open, Avery moved closer. "You're going to be fine, sailor." He managed a weak smile before drifting back under. 9 hours later, 12 sailors lay stable in recovery. Avery stood at the scrub sink, watching pink-tinged water spiral down the drain. Thorne found her. "The helicopter is ready." "What happens now?" "You go home, or you consider coming back." "I can't serve in a system that sacrificed me. The people responsible are gone. Your record's been corrected, full exoneration." Thorne paused. "You'd have your choice of assignments. Doesn't change what happened." "No, but it changes what it means. You didn't fail her, Avery. You fought until you physically couldn't." During the flight back, Avery's phone buzzed. Text from Thorne. "Generator failure was sabotage. Insider threat. You were scapegoated. After-action report declassified last month. You were right to stay. She died because of betrayal, not your choice. 3 years of carrying guilt for a failure that wasn't hers." Monday morning at St. Catherine's, people looked at Avery differently. Word had spread about the helicopter, the surgeries, the hidden military service. Hargrove called her to his office. "I owe you several apologies. I suspended you for demonstrating exactly the clinical judgment we should encourage." He paused. "Captain Thorne sent your service record. 8 years, commendations for surgical excellence, training that exceeds most civilian trauma surgeons. Why work as a junior attending?" "I was trying to do simple medicine." "That's not who you are." "No, it's not. I'd like to offer you head of trauma surgery. Full privileges, autonomous decision-making, direct reporting to me. I need one thing. If I make a call that contradicts protocol, I need your trust that I had good reason." Hargrove extended his hand. "Welcome to St. Catherine's Trauma Surgery, Dr. Walsh. 6 months transformed the hospital. Trauma survival rates increased 23%. Response times dropped 40%. The new simulation lab, funded through Navy partnership, trained residents and military medics with curriculum designed by someone who'd learned under mortar fire." Avery stood before a mixed group, walking through the Kellerman case, frame by frame. "The key isn't speed, it's accuracy. You move fast because every motion is correct. Speed is a byproduct of precision." After the session, Lena remained. "You're a natural teacher. The Navy's been asking about a national training program." "They've asked. I haven't answered. What's holding you back?" "What's holding you back?" "For 3 years I believed I'd failed. Knowing the truth doesn't erase that." Avery paused. "Part of me is still afraid. After watching you these 6 months, that fear is irrational. Most fears are." Avery's office now held unpacked commendations and patient photos. One prominence, James Kellerman in dress uniform. "You gave me my future." "Thank you, Commander." The phone rang. "Mass casualty event. 7 critical, industrial accident. ETA 4 minutes. Avari grabbed her trauma kit. Alert surgical team. All ORES prepped. Page Dr. Awoy. This is live training." The ER filled with controlled chaos. Patients arrived. Avery moved between them with practiced precision, directing care, making rapid assessments. By the time the last patient stabilized 3 hours later, all 7 were alive with good prognosis. Her phone buzzed. Text from Thorne. "Humanitarian crisis. South Pacific. Earthquake. Thousands injured. Need surgical team leader. 2-week deployment. Interested?" Avery looked around the ER she'd built, the people she'd trained. "Need to clear with administration. Bringing 2 residents for training. If acceptable, I'm in." "Done." "Thank you, Avery." She found Lena. "South Pacific earthquake response. 2 weeks. You and Cooper are coming." "When do we leave?" 3 days. That evening, Avery stood at her window watching the ocean. The same view from 6 months ago when she'd been trying to outrun her past. Now the past had caught up, integrated itself, stopped being something to escape. Her phone rang. James Kellerman. "Commander Walsh. Hope I'm not calling too late." "Never too late. How's the Navy treating you?" "Really good. I'm on a destroyer out of San Diego. I just wanted to thank you again. You being alive and serving, that's all the thanks I need." They talked about his training, his ship, his future. When the call ended, Avery returned to the window. 12 lives saved that night. 7 more today. Hundreds over 6 months through surgeries, training, building a program that would save thousands more. Her reflection looked back at her. For the first time in 3 years, she recognized herself completely. Sometimes the past doesn't let you go because you're not meant to escape it. You're meant to understand it, integrate it, transform it into something that serves rather than haunts. Sometimes being suspended is exactly what you need to remember who you really are. Dr. Avery Walsh had finally stopped hiding. The world was better for it.